Good evening. This is Isaac with Programmable Audio. Moving on to episode number 17. That's right, we're getting close to Big 20. And tonight we're going to talk about mix notes, using audio mix notes. And I'll explain what I mean by that. This is kind of a thing I developed on my own. I didn't really steal this from anyone else. I'm sure other people use it, but I can't credit anyone else for directly influencing me to do this. Tonight, I finished workout 18 out of 30 for my challenge. I have 12 more to go. Yeah, that math adds up. I don't have my bandana on because it's been a couple of hours since the gym and I'm nice and my skin has stopped sweating, my head has stopped sweating. So this is what my natural hair looks like after the gym. A little bit curly, a little bit wavy. Don't need the bandana to keep me from dripping sweat. So, what I want to do now, because at this point, we just finished editing vocals, and I have to admit I have not spent time on the side editing the rest of the vocals. So this section that I have highlighted here, let me bring it over to the left. This section here is all, verse and chorus 1 are all I have edited for vocals. So we'll just focus on this part of the mix. Now what I did, I took my mic here. I'm going to hold it up for the camera. It's a little lavaliere mic, and I have it on a straw into a little sports ball that I use to make like a makeshift Chaotica eyeball. And it's sitting inside of a Starbucks cup. So this is high-tech home recording equipment here. Hang on, let me mute my email there. And so I took the lav mic, I plugged it into my cell phone, I pulled up the mix that I made in my Google Drive app on my Android phone, and while I had the lav mic plugged in, I played the mix, and I have a third-party app. You can't use the default recorder in Android, the voice recorder stock app that comes with your phone, because from what I found, at least on my phone, I have the Note 7 or the Note 5, not the Exploder, Note 5. With the stock one, when I would hit record and then try to play the drive file out, it would stop the recording. So I got a third-party voice recording app called Smart Recorder. Works really well. So I have the lav mic plugged in. I actually dangle it off of my visor so it's real close to my mouth, and then I hit play on the mix. And while I'm driving to work, it's about a 25-minute drive, 15 miles away or something. I listen to the mix. I think I get through it 6 times total, and I do different stuff. I have a wave output and I have an MP3 output, and I bounce back and forth between them. And I also, and that's because of quality. That's just for, the wave is more data. It's a heavier, richer sound. The MP3 is compressed, and you lose a lot of frequencies. They claim that the human ear can't hear them, but I mean, the quality, you can tell the difference in quality, somewhat. And then I did volume low and volume high, which I hear is, I keep hearing over and over you're supposed to do. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play just a minute of this clip. I have it loaded up here. And I turn the volume sufficiently down so that it doesn't blow your ears out. And I'm going to start here kind of towards the middle, not middle, but 5 minutes, 28 seconds in, because at the very beginning I do like an intro, and I was kind of intending to use this piece of audio in my podcast and not play it entirely through, but play sections of it and talk about it. So yeah, we are trying to put out a podcast. We have, I believe at this point, 3 episodes out. So this one will make it either on number 4 or maybe number 5. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play and let's listen for a minute. It needs a lot of work. So the first thing I noticed right away, the drums are too hot. So that's me giving my critique after listening to it the first time. So I'm saying drums are too hot. I'm getting enough bass, I think, but the guitar gets kind of left behind, drowned out, sort of. Enough bass, but not enough guitar.
And even within the drum mix, within the drum bus, the snare sounds too loud. I'm getting just like a ton of snare, which I did try to boost to make it snappy and stuff. It might need a little more reverb just to mellow it out, but it also needs to come down a little bit in volume.
All right, so that's just like the basic critique I had for it after listening to it once. So let's do those changes. What I want to do is I want to actually make changes according to that. I'm going to send it out to another mix, upload it, and I'm going to repeat the process tomorrow morning. I'm going to take the mic with me, plug it in, do exactly the same thing with the new mix. And I should be able to say, yeah, okay, we brought down let's bring down the snare. So it's at negative 3 dB. And also, for some reason, I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I lost my snapshots. I think maybe I didn't save them properly. I didn't hit save over the top of them, and I just closed the project out. So I don't have that snapshot to recall the mix. So I'm going to create one right now. And we're going to call, let's see here. We call this mix 1, or mix, let's call it mix 0, right? And then we'll make a snapshot after, and we'll call it mix 1 because we changed everything. We're going to mix to my notes, my audio notes. And that's why I say they were audio notes, because it's just me speaking. And the advantage of doing that is I can make use of my commute to work, to actually work on the project. It's a way of packing in more critical listening and more, fine tuning of my skill. During that 25 minutes, I'm sitting in my car, normally listening to music or podcasts or whatever. I can fit in a listening session in the mornings, and I like it a lot. And usually I arrive to work in a pretty good mood because I'm hearing my work, All right, so we're going to do before mix notes on, what day was this? What day of the week was this? I think it was last Saturday. So we'll look at the calendar here. It definitely wasn't Sunday. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Saturday, so 28. On 128. Come on now. All right, so that's all we're going to do. And then I guess save is control click. So we're going to control click it. All right, I control clicked it. Now I'm going to save the project. And let me close this out. I want to just test this because these snapshots should return. Okay, that's there. I'm going to close the project out briefly and reopen Reaper. Watch how quickly and beautifully it boots up. Boom, boom, boom. It's loading everything so fast. Okay, let's go back to snapshots under extensions. Okay, it's there. For some reason, I don't know why I lost that other one. Also, mix notes. And this was in, I believe it was episode 15, where I wrote down the levels of everything. So I'm going to go vocals. And this is just to remember, because as you start to make these changes, you don't want to get lost in a never-ending saga of changes, and you want to fine-tune this until you get to the point where you want to commit and just go, be done with it. You don't want to, there's times where I've mixed in the past, and so this is negative 13. I would spend weeks just tearing my hair out about the volume and trying to figure out levels, and negative 10.8 on the bass. And drums. I can clearly recall a couple of times not liking where everything was. I know it was negative 2.99, but I'm just going to put it as negative 3. All right, so then we're going to go to 117. Actually, let's change this back to that date before. 1, which I believe was the last time I worked on it. Well, that's not necessarily true, but the last time I worked on it, all I did was vocals. So 128.17. All right, so we're kind of creating ourselves a log here. And I hope this just saves these notes. I don't know why it would not. I'm doing the same thing because losing those notes and snapshots was frustrating to me. Okay, it's in there. Closing Reaper. We're saying yes, we're saving it. Maybe I closed Reaper and I said no, do not save or something. Or I don't recall my computer crashing. I mean, no, it didn't. Extensions, notes. All right. So what I said was the snare was too hot. So let's Let's get the snare bus down. Let's make a 2 dB cut to -5. Oops, hang on. If it was at -3, yeah, -5. Okay, I was just dragging so slowly that it seemed like longer. Okay, and let's listen real quick. Okay, immediately what I can tell, I didn't cut too much. It's not, I mean, 2 dB is almost nothing, but it can be significant. So I just wanted to give a quick listen and go, okay, that's not terrible. Also, the thing that I wanted to do was turn up more verb. So we have our snare verb. Where's our snare verb? There it is. Snare verb, I'm going to turn this up by 1 dB. So we'll go to -2.24, or in that neighborhood. Okay, so it has... Yeah, okay, so that's good. Like I said, I'm going to make these changes. I'm going to listen again tomorrow morning. And if some of these aren't drastic enough, this one color needs to be changed to red. That'll work. Okay. If adding 1 dB of more snare verb isn't enough, if it doesn't smooth it out enough, I'll come back tomorrow and do more. The drums were too hot overall. So if you notice, I made my changes within the drum bus first, and then I'm going to bring the overall volume of the drums down. In this case, I'm going to just go 1 dB here from -3 to -4, because if you cut the drums too much, you lose oomph. You lose your punch. So that's at -4, and let's not forget we're gonna do our we'll do the snapshot right at the end, but we're gonna do our notes here. So we're gonna do drums to -4, and we're going to do underneath here, we're going to do snare -5. So I found that this really helps me keep track of everything, because like I said, there were times where I would get frustrated with the volumes and feel like I wasn't getting anywhere, and I wasn't keeping track that well. -5 dB, and then snare verb is at -2.3. All right, I'm going to get to the point of my story here in a second. I just get distracted typing. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, without taking notes like this, what you may end up doing is getting very frustrated with trying to get your volumes balanced out and sounding good on several different speakers and in your car and stuff. And you may, through that frustration, you may go, okay, I'm just going to start over and like drag everything to 0 or drag everything back to -10 or something. And you sort of lose, like you lose all sense of refinement completely. And that's what I found. So I prefer this method a lot better than trying to like go back to a blank slate. There'd be times where I listen and I go, oh, the bass is way too low. So I'd boost the bass really high, and it just wasn't ideal. So let's do bass. Bass, I think my note was that it was the same. This is at an uneven. I'm actually just going to drop this to -11 just because it's bugging me that it's at 10.8. It's a silly thing, but that way later, my goal by episode 20 is to come in and just make 2 or 3 final half dB changes to these buses and then call it good and commit to it. And we'll talk about that in another episode. This is something that I've heard repeatedly, and I really need to force myself to do. Okay, so the guitar was not present enough, so I'm going to go ahead and give this a 2 dB. Oops. You know what we did is we did not listen. Let's listen to the change. The bass change you're not going to hear. 0.2 of a dB really isn't going to be that noticeable. It may be, but here, let's listen. Oops, I'm still in notes, so it just spaced. Okay. So it's still sounding okay to my ear. In fact, I need to give myself a little more volume here. I don't know if I have the system volume turned way, way down. Yeah. Let's put this at about 40. Sorry about the window sound. Let me listen with both ears in. Yeah, that's sounding good. Now, definitely the vocals are too hot. And I believe in my notes, that's what I had said. Let's go back to our music notes.
All right, so here goes with listen number 2. I'm actually I'm getting enough bass.
Let's go back. That's me singing over the song. I get excited. I hear it, and I used to sing the song with the guitar player and singer. Sometimes near the end of our time as a band, I was getting good enough to sing with him.
I mean, it's not pretty good. It needs a lot of work.
That's my croaky morning voice.
So the first thing I noticed right away, the drums are too hot.
Drums are too hot. We fixed that.
I'm getting enough bass, I think, but
enough bass.
The guitar gets kind of left behind,
guitar
drowned
left
out,
behind.
Sort of. And even within the drum mix,
13.
within the drum bus, the snare sounds too loud. I'm getting just like a ton of snare, which I did try to boost to make it
guitar. We're gonna go to negative.
It might need a little more reverb
12.
just to mellow it out,
just by 1 dB.
But it also needs to come down a little bit in volume. All right, so here goes with listen number 2. I'm actually going to switch to the MP3 now. That was the WAV file. I'm at a red light. I'm not on my phone while I'm driving. I'm smarter than that.
All right, so let's get past and see if we can get to where I talk again.
Fingers to the bone.
Oh, there's me singing again. It just wakes me up in the morning, and by the time I get to work, I'm like all amped and ready to work. And
getting your voice up real loud, you'll kind of block out some parts of the song. Like your ears will kind of...
Yeah.
To the bone.
Save that for the podcast.
Kind of dictates the style.
A lot of road noise in that recording. Sorry about that. I hope it doesn't come through too loud.
Yeah, and there's some balance. There's something left to right going on with...
All right, so I don't remember the exact spot where I said it, but I definitely remember saying the vocals were too hot, and I can hear it right now. So they're at negative 16. Let's see. Let me give it one more listen here. I'm thinking maybe a 2 dB cut. And again, I'm in notes, so I hit the space bar to hit play. There's my noob moment. I've done it twice, and it just puts a space in the notes. Duh. There we go. Okay, headphone on. All right, so to me, the vocals, that sound like they're just right. But in the car is what counts. So I'm going to go ahead and the reason in the car, because in the car is one place where your fans, your people that are going to listen to the mix will turn it up loud. When you're driving in your car, nothing feels better than just pounding the music, just blasting it, and it gets you amped. And some people play it loud at home, of course, but like through a laptop or through earbuds, people aren't generally cranking it because it just distorts the crap out of it. But so in a car, if you you can turn it all the way up. You can do 3/4 of the volume or all the way. And if the song starts distorting or the voice is just overbearing, you need to work on that. So I am going to cut, or was it cut? Yeah. I'm going to cut it 2 dB to negative 18. And we'll give that a listen. And even if it sounds a little too quiet in this mix, I'm going to go ahead and send it out to the car, to the, basically that's what I'm doing. I'm sending it out to Google Drive so I can listen to it in the car tomorrow morning on my drive to work. So guitar, we went to, what did we say, negative 12? No, that would have been a boost. Come on, dude. Negative 18. All right. Oh, wait, no. Vocals. And I should have done them in the same order. I can rearrange them there. So we're doing negative 18. Actually, I'm not even going to worry about the order. What counts is that you got them in there. Okay. All right. It's sounding pretty balanced. Like, to me, the vocals are a little too low, but that could just be my monitoring situation. These ear protector combo headphones are they're designed specifically for letting a drummer record drums without hearing his own kit too powerfully in here. So they're tuned a certain way, or their frequency response is what they are, and they're much different than a car. A car typically have like a 8-inch oval speaker, or like not 8-inch, maybe more like 6.5 oval speaker down in the door, and that can crank out some pretty good loud bass and stuff. And then you usually have tweeters up like in my car, there's tweeters like built into the dash. So you have a totally different sound profile when you get in your car. So let's get that, going back here to SWS extensions, which I talked about in a previous episode, and we are going to add a new snapshot. Excuse me. Need to take a sip of water here. Okay. My voice is starting to get a pretty bad frog in there. So we're going to do a new snapshot. Oh, it titles it Mix 2. That's interesting. Oh, because it called it Mix 1. Yeah, we're going to call this one Mix 1. Actually, that's going to get... It doesn't matter. I could just put... Oh, whoa, how did that happen? Okay, so tab... For some reason, tab is not a... When I hit tab, it makes that one go blank, which is really strange. All right, so... Mix notes 1 applied. And then maybe C notes or something like that. All right, and then it says over here, save. Let me move it to the side. If you look here, you have instructions. Delete is Alt-click and save is Control-click. And hold down Control and click on it, and that should save it. Oh yeah, see up here in our last action? That's what this little area is right here. Save snapshot 2. Save snapshot 1. So by naming it Mix 0, I mean, that's kind of silly. I mean, that makes sense to me as Mix 0. It's like ground zero. We're starting there. So let's make sure. What we want to do is make sure, let's see, save project. When I double click on this one, we should see the volumes jump. We should see the vocals, guitar, bass, and drums should all jump. I don't know if I'm seeing it. Huh. Maybe it's too small of a jump. Let's look at our notes. Guitar to -12, and let's load 1. No, it's not working the way it should. Merge into project. Okay, so maybe I'm thinking what I did is by clicking save, control click, what I need to do is go get a tutorial on snapshots. I mean, I watched one a year ago or something. I think what I did was when I hit control click over it, it actually saves whatever is in the mix to that snapshot, I believe. So anyway, let's not worry about it. If I need to go back to the settings before my audio notes, they're right here. Okay, so now I'll render it out, and so that's going to pretty much be the end of our episode. You don't have to sit here and watch me render. That was in an earlier episode. So we talked about my method for making refinements using audio notes. You record, and you could try on your cell phone try to find that third party. The one I use, I believe, is called Smart Voice or Smart Recorder. And it does not interrupt the outgoing. If you have something playing, a music service like Spotify, or in my case, Google Drive, playing something out to your speakers, you can still record. And I mean, you're going to get a lot of the incoming noise from the speakers, but if it's close enough to your mouth, I've done it before where you just hold the phone like this. Be careful while you're driving, please. Or in my case, I have the lav mic hanging down, and it's a little tiny. It doesn't get in my field of vision, and it's just, this far from my mouth, and it picks up my voice fine. Picks up a lot of road noise too, but it's at least enough to play back for yourself the next day, come into your mix, tweak based on what you've heard in the car. And you want to be sure, my advice is when you hit play in the car and you're recording, whatever first impression hits you, just say it. Whatever, there's an impulse that hits you, you'll say, oh, that snare is loud. Snare's too loud. Say it right into the phone or the mic. And then he'll start, your singer, the vocals will come in and, oh my God, those are way too loud. It should be striking on your first try. After you do your refinements, it's going to be a little trickier, and you'll say, yeah, maybe the vocals could just be a tiny bit louder. And then that's the point at which maybe it's time to start making half a dB cuts or boosts. All right, so I'm going to do my render out. Actually, I'm going to end the episode there because you don't need to see me render this out. I'll just keep typing while I talk. So that was episode 17 of Mix with a Noob. We covered making audio notes for yourself in your car or at home. You could also make written notes. I didn't mention that, but of course you could just sit down with your mix, set aside 20 minutes, play through the mix 4 or 5 times, and do the volume thing because your ear can fatigue. Okay, it's something that a lot of mixers talk about. If you go and watch tutorials, they'll say, don't sit and listen to a mix for an hour straight. Get up, go walk around, listen to something different, listen to silence. You don't want to strain your ear. You don't want to fatigue it on the same mix. And it's just like a muscle, I guess, too many curls. You do 50 curls like we did today, and your muscle goes, whoa, I can't do another one of those. So your ear loses that critical edge. So by turning it down, you're sort of mimicking what you might get out of a phone speaker or a laptop. And you're able to pick out some of the more macro elements, I guess I'll say, instead of the micro, the vocals and the snare are not, sitting together right or something, or I think in that one I said, I'm hearing some sort of shushing in the cymbals, which we'll address. I actually need to listen to my notes again. I only listened to them once afterwards. So anyway, thank you for watching. Please hit subscribe, give us a like, and leave us a comment if you need to. If you feel like it, if you feel like giving me feedback about how to make this better, or if there was something in here that I was doing completely wrong and you'd like to correct me on, I would appreciate it. And because I'm a new, I'm not going to, scoff at someone saying, oh, what you're really doing those snapshots wrong, or this is how the pros do it like this, or I'm open to all feedback. So thank you very much. Good night.